This is season 1, episode 10. Congratulations of the Money Talks, Money Matters podcast featuring Alex Robinson. She is a YouTube sensation. She had a channel over 200,000 followers and she decided to hit the reset button and now she's starting her journey again. It's great to have you.
Thank you for having me. Super excited.
Of course. Would you like to just tell the audience just a little bit about yourself?
So, as you said, my name is Alex. I've been interested in filmmaking for as long as I can remember, really, since I was 11, 12 years old. My dad used to manage UFC fighters, so I would take advantage of those opportunities at a young age, and I would start making highlight reels of like their best knockouts and career moments, and I would post them on YouTube. And eventually, over time, they started gaining some traction, and that channel amassed over like a million total views. And so I was excited about that for a while, but it didn't fulfill me anymore because I started getting older and realizing that I can do much more with film. So I was watching a lot of YouTube at the time, and I saw YouTubers going to Playlist Live, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. I want to go to these events. I want to be invited. Just kind of wanted to feel famous, like clout chasing a little bit. But so I kind of said goodbye to the fight videos, and I went on a new path, and I started my own YouTube channel where I was kind of just making silly content. Nothing really serious. I didn't really think it was going to go anywhere. I hoped it would, but I didn't think it. And after just a few years, like a handful of videos went viral. I couldn't tell you how. I couldn't tell you why, because if I look back, which I do my best not to watch those videos, I don't understand like why they were so popular, but people liked them, and it got views, it got subscribers. So over time, I got to around like 200,000 subscribers on YouTube at my peak. And I was making like really funny videos with my friends. We were having a good time. People in high school, they thought of me as like the YouTube girl. That was like my nickname in high school. People come up to me all the time like, aren't you that YouTuber? I'm like, yeah, that's me. But I'm also a person. I'm kidding. So it was a lot of fun. It was like living a dream in high school, which a lot of people, because these days it's not easier, but it's definitely more common to be like have a platform on the internet. But at that time, it was still kind of rare, I guess you could say. So it was exciting. But after a while, the channel kind of just plateaued, and the views weren't the same, the subscribers weren't the same, and every time I would check my analytics, it would just be like a down arrow or red. And after a while, I just wasn't feeling the same like type of drive and motivation towards the channel, and like it was just different. So I let some time pass, and I reevaluated, and I decided, okay, I'm gonna hit the reset button and make a new channel. And now I'm getting way less views, but seeing the upward trends and the greens, it's enlightening. Like it's really invigorating in a completely different way that I didn't anticipate.
Yeah, that's awesome. So are you bringing a lot of the tactics that you had for your last channel into your new channel?
No. I mean, as far as the only thing I'm trying to bring from the old channel into the new channel, which is taking me a little bit of time, is my personality, because it's a different way of showing myself. It's just a different side of me that I haven't shown. More mature side too. I mean, naturally you grow up. But for the most part, I wanted to step up the quality of the content. I wanted to step up the value of the content. And so that's ultimately what I decided to do. The videos more today are like along the lines of productivity, filmmaking, just documenting my journey as a filmmaker, because I think that's authentic, and I think that's interesting.
Yeah, Gary Vee's a big person where he says document, don't create, and I always take that to heart, and I think it's a very important thing, because I think when you're trying to create all the time, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that's maybe why you got burnt out or any form of that in your last channel, because you're creating over and over, and it probably felt a little inauthentic. Is that right?
No, definitely. And not only was I creating over and over, but it felt like I was just creating the same sort of thing. Like a silly challenge video, vlog with my friends, just, shallow. Didn't get really far below the surface. And I'm the type of person that I like to get below the surface. So it just didn't fulfill me. So I took a completely different step in a different direction, and I love it.
So then when did these roots start to sprout and you thought, like I'm set for something greater? Like, because to me, if I got 200,000 subscribers on YouTube, I would think I made it. So what was the peak of success that you said, well, this just isn't for me?
It kind of was, so like I said, in high school, I kind of thought that I was I was it.
You were the shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck it.
I thought I was the shit. So it kind of like you were asking me earlier, like how my ego was. At that point, my ego was huge because here I am in high school. I felt like I was famous. I was getting invited to Playlist Live. People would come up to me, ask me for photos, and it was. I totally associated my self-worth as a person with my YouTube channel.
And I'm sure when you started seeing the red, it really affected your mental.
Yeah, totally took a huge mental toll. So I guess when I was able to make the new channel and I was able to see that I can do this and I can do it even better and I can grow a channel again, that kind of told me like, I'm destined for more than just making challenge videos on YouTube. Like I'm a filmmaker, not a content. No, I don't want to say. I want to be known as a filmmaker. I don't want to be known as someone that is just clout chasing, trying to get as much views and subscribers as possible.
Yeah, I hear you. Do you consider YouTube as another business?
Definitely. I mean, that's what I'm trying to establish it as. Like, of course, I create because I love it and I love all the support that I get on the videos. But at the end of the day, I do want to make it my career and I do want to take it and do other things with it. It's not my end goal to be making YouTube videos. It's my end goal to market myself as a business. Start my own podcast maybe in the future, different brands, short films, feature films. I mean, who knows? But that's obviously hypothetical, far ahead. But I definitely believe in myself more now than before.
So is filmmaking something that you would want to do for the rest of your life, or is this just short term to get you to another long term goal?
I definitely have business roots in me. My father was an entrepreneur, so I grew up witnessing that. So I definitely I'm not the type of person that wants to just put all my eggs in one basket. I definitely want to be able to expand into different opportunities. So I feel like filmmaking is what's gonna get my foot in the door it's gonna get my foot in all the doors that I want to open.
Yeah.
So, but I would dedicate my life to it for sure. I love it.
I definitely want to dive into the period when you decided to reset because it's not an easy decision to go from 200,000 back to 1,000 around right now.
Definitely not.
What was going on in your mind to make that decision, and what were some things that you did to help yourself transform into the person you are now, as far as kind of kill the ego? Because I know ego's a big it limits success a lot when you start to think like you are the person, you're sitting on your throne and everything like that. How'd you go about that mental shift?
I kind of just my last videos on my old channel, I was living in Orlando going to UCF at the time. And since then, I've transferred back to FAU since the pandemic and everything. But those were the last videos that I made on the old channel. And it was fun, don't get me wrong. But every time I post it, it just didn't feel the way it used to feel. And it felt like I was chasing something that ultimately I lost. Like what I had, back in high school, you're not supposed to be the same person you are in high school. And so I realized that I'm like, what am I chasing here? Yeah. Really? Like I got to find a different path. Like it can still be filmmaking, it can still be YouTube, but what I'm doing now, it's not it. Like,
so in a sense, like you lost your why, is the sense.
Yeah, definitely. So the pandemic happened. I transferred back here and living at home now, and having no distractions ultimately made me realize what I'm most passionate about. And not that productivity is what I'm most passionate about, but I love to work. Yeah. I love to get better. That's what makes me happy. In a weird way, it's what relaxes me. So, and I know that there's a market for that on YouTube too. I watch a lot of YouTube, like Matt Diavella, Ali Abdaal. I listen to them, and they gave me a lot of inspiration. And they basically, Ali Abdaal mainly was saying, make a video every week for 2 years, and you'll see results. So I kind of took it as okay, challenge accepted. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna give it one more go. And I was debating should I put it on my old YouTube channel, and I ultimately decided no. I'm at a different point, and I needed to prove to myself that I can do this just for being me, not for making silly types of videos with challenges. And don't get me wrong, they were fun, but it's not who I am.
I know a lot of
inside.
celebrities run into that problem as far as when they make it and they get to their big success point, and they're having an entire identity crisis because they have to act like this figure that they've created. So I think long term you've done yourself justice, you know?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people get big and then they're like, oh wow, like what next? Like, am I supposed to put this act up forever? Not that everyone you watch on YouTube is putting up an act, but obviously it's like an inflated version of yourself when you're on camera.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. So, I was like, you know what? I don't want that version of myself to be the version that is what makes me money and what, you know, drives success. I want just to be me. Like, and that's kind of what I'm chasing now, is for people to genuinely enjoy my content just because they enjoy me, I guess.
Yeah.
So, since you were great at filmmaking during high school, why did you decide to take a different route and say, "Hey, I'm gonna take the college route instead of being a full-time like filmmaker, and then make this my job instead of being a full-time student"?
I was scared, quite frankly. I was scared. Like I said, I grew up in a household where, you know, I was able to creatively express myself for sure. But at the end of the day, we're like a family that's has roots in business and like whatever makes the most economic sense. And that's kind of what I grew up around. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's just like, it's kind of what was surrounding me for a while. And it just, I actually when I transferred to UCF, I was a marketing major. And I was like, what am I doing? I took, I think I took macroeconomics or either one. Yeah, I don't know which one it was. But I hated it. I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And when I transferred back here, that's when I changed my major. And now I have no doubts, like for sure. I definitely just want to chase my dream.
Yeah. So we mentioned off camera that you're into freelance stuff as well. Do you think anything of YouTube stemmed off? I keep bringing up YouTube because I just want to see if there's any correlation as far as like your work ethic or anything you've taken from that big channel. Even though you're restarting, I want to see like if that has snowballed into greater things now, like the freelancing and.
Yeah. So freelancing wise, I'm working with another creator. His name is Larry Paz, and his wife has a channel, Grow with Joe. So she does fitness videos.
Okay.
And they're different types of videos. They're actually, you know, really good content. And so I was introduced to Larry through my friend Mark, and he told me, you know, my cousin, he needs an editor. You know, they've seen my like Mark, and he's seen my content, so he knows like that I have the capability to edit. So I was like, yeah, sure, like introduce me, let's make it happen. And then so we did, and we made that happen, and now I'm editing like 25 videos for him for this fitness model in Miami. Her name is Bruna. And it's just exciting. I've never really done freelance work like that before. I've never done work for anybody else. I've kind of always just focused on, you know, what's kind of had tunnel vision with like my own goals and stuff. But working on other people's creations is kind of given me a new outlook on editing wise. Like it's shown me ways to edit faster, edit different, edit better, work smarter. And I definitely think that I got those opportunities because I have work to show for.
Yeah.
So
portfolio.
Yeah, essentially, which is kind of also what I try to think of my YouTube as, like not just being a YouTuber, but also like you want to see what I'm capable of, you know, watch some of my videos.
Yeah. So with being like a whole YouTuber and then a content creator and then also an editor, what are some tips that you would give to, I would say, people just starting off to people who are at the tippy top?
Do it, and don't ever act like you know everything, because you never know everything. I just found out like a tip about Premiere Pro 2 weeks ago that changed my life, and I've been editing for 10 years now. So, you know, always be a student. Never act like you. As soon as you feel like you have nothing left to learn, you failed.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of took that and ran. I was like, I'm in a learning phase, and I always want to be in a learning phase. The second I'm done learning,
Well, it shows, because now that you're growing again, you feel that energy just from not the numbers, but the growth of it.
Yeah.
And if you cap that off again and say, like, I know what I'm doing now, I'm pretty sure that's where the passion kind of goes away. Was it difficult to figure out your rates and your prices when you got into freelancing?
Yes, and I still don't honestly know what I'm doing in terms of it. Like, I know what I'm doing. I know what I deserve, but it's different. I've never charged anyone for anything. So the first time they were like, "What's your rate?" or, you know, "What would you charge for a day's worth of filming?" I was like, "Oh, I don't know.
Do you have any mentors?
So I'm actually filming. I have an opportunity to film with Lisa Rinna in New York coming up at Fashion Week, which is exciting. And the woman who helped me get this opportunity, like over the past few weeks that we've been slowly working together more, she's, just giving me the opportunity showed me that you need people with experience in your corner. You can't do it on your own.
Yeah.
So, she's been kind of like, she's just been showing me that I'm capable and giving me that chance. Like, it proved a lot to me, and I'm excited for that, definitely.
Did you have any people other than, like, I would say your parents that you looked up to and they kind of pushed you when you were in your high school phase and even after that?
The biggest one is definitely, I know you said besides my parents, but definitely the biggest one is my dad. Yeah. He's the most creative person I've ever met. And not only creative, but so business savvy. So seeing the combination of the two is inspiring to me. But besides, family and friends, I honestly have to say the people that supported my YouTube channel, they just showed me every single day that, like, these people are watching because they like me and they like what I'm doing. And that's just a pretty crazy thought to think that people actually will take time out of their day to watch something that you're making. I still don't grasp my head around it, and I don't understand why sometimes, but it's cool for sure.
It's awesome.
So what's like the end goal of like how many subscribers you want until like you hit a peak? Because I would think you want to go from 200 and go up, but right now you're at 11,000. And where do you see yourself?
1100. We're low right now.
No,
okay. No worries.
Yeah, so you're at 1100 now. Where do you see yourself like long term? Like, do you see yourself as being a multi-million-dollar YouTube, kind of sensation?
Yeah. I mean, I hope. I don't know. I just. Ultimately, I want to have enough subscribers where I can do different things, and I'll have support for that. Like I said, like if I got to 50,000 subscribers, like I would want to start a podcast. And if I got to 500,000, maybe I could start, I would love to write a book one day, but I wouldn't do that until I had at least 1 million subscribers,
Yeah.
And of course I could do those things now, but if I'm going to put all that work in, I want to make sure, it's being received by people.
Definitely.
So I don't have an end goal of subscribers. I just have an end goal of other things that I want to do, and I need subscribers to do those things.
Do you have a financial goal of numbers that you want to hit? Meaning like long term, like do you want to own a couple investment properties? Do you want to retire at 40? Like just kind of run us through that.
Yeah, I don't I'm not the most financially literate person, and that's a weakness of mine. I definitely need to learn more on things like that. But I want to invest. I want to learn more about stocks, and I want to invest in stocks more because I have a basis of understanding of it. But it's to me, it's complex, and I don't understand it. If I had, like you said, if I had money, I would definitely want to like invest in rental properties and rent them out on Airbnb or something. Like those are things that I've definitely thought of, but I don't have the means to do it right now. Financially, I just want to be making enough to live the life that I want to live. I don't have a number. I guess I would just say like I just want to live comfortably and not like if I see something in the store that I like, I can buy it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And basically just wealthy more than just rich, where you'll be okay if you lost a project here and there.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to be comfortable with like if a loss comes my way, that's okay. I can bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I would say the most important thing that you should be starting off right now is to be like financially fit.
Yeah.
Just because in media and social media and also being like a content, I feel like my best advice to you would just be learn as much as you can about money and finance. So then when you do get these big projects up in New York and stuff, you can say, hey, or down in Miami, say, hey, I can charge this rate because I'm this good. And also this is my product and these are my competitors.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's actually something that I've thought about is since I don't have like complete knowledge of like rates, I've been doing a lot of research on it, like trying my best to learn. But I still am not a professional at that. But, getting cool clients, like I've gotten these opportunities to work with cool clients. And now I have that. It's like part of my repertoire. Like now I can leverage myself and say, yeah, I can charge you X amount, because if you look at other people I've worked with, and that's not like an ego thing. That's just
No.
like
And like one thing that I've learned over time is like I've been learning how to get credibility on loan, which is basically like attaching my name to bigger names. And when they think of my name, since it's already attached to the bigger name, they're not taking my credibility, but taking their credibility. And it's been a really big way to skyrocket me a little bit forward.
Yeah.
It's not on purpose. It's just something that's been happening over time. But as I start to work with bigger figures, and then I introduce myself like, hi, I'm Darian. I work with so-and-so. And they automatically have a certain level of trust. And we built more of a relationship in those 5 seconds with saying that name, because they have such a big repertoire with the last person that I've talked about.
Yeah.
I think that, like, and now you're working with these people like Swim Week and stuff like that, it's going to skyrocket you.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you bring it up, because I was actually just talking with my mom this morning about incorporating myself.
Yeah.
And if I should do, like, making an LLC or something.
You got it.
Yeah, and I know I have to.
Wait, that's like the basic principles of
Yeah.
money, just building a corporation first off.
Yeah, and I don't have that.
Yeah,
Like,
which it takes like 2 seconds to set up an LLC or like a PA
Yeah.
or really anything that you can put to a corporation to put, your tax on. Because like half the shit you buy, you can write off.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
right now, I mean, the second you get paid, you're 33% taxed.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, like I would say first LLC and then, or first accountant, because I don't know if you have an accountant yet.
I don't.
Yeah, which, I mean, you could outsource to any accountant. I mean, I wouldn't say any, but
Yeah.
I would say
Most are really incredible.
most are really good.
Yeah.
But I feel like you just need to get your feet wet, being like
Definitely.
financially fit.
Yeah, and I
For
think
sure.
the LLCs are a really big thing. And they talk about LLC and S Corp. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure if my accountant switched me to an S Corp yet. I haven't looked into that yet in a while because we're still working with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I did originally file as an LLC. And I will say that has already saved me a lot, because in my first year being an LLC, I made so many expenses. So, as you're getting started, you're going to be traveling, you're going to be doing all these
Yeah.
different things. I actually basically broke even plus $1,000, which is, you don't even pay many taxes on $1,000.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
even though I made a certain amount of money, it broke even so well. But I wouldn't have been able to do that if I wasn't an LLC. And it also protects you if people for different lawsuits with you and certain contracts. There's a lot of things to protect you, not even just for the tax benefits, but simply just for your peace of mind. Because there's some really shady people out there, and you don't want to get involved with that.
Yeah, and in along the lines of like credibility as well. Like I've mentioned that I want to move up to New York City. If I say, if I'm filling out an application for an apartment and I say I make YouTube videos, they may not take that as seriously as if I said I'm like CEO of whatever it is.
Yeah, that was
LLC.
a big thing. It's like when I was buying my car, they were like, who are we employed with? I was like, my own company. And then even though it's still self-employed, I am then employed. And then you go look at your bank records and stuff like that, and it's pretty consistent. But yeah, and as far as like going across like basic financial literacy, you should definitely get into the Roth IRA at the very beginning.
Yeah.
If you know anything about that, like a Roth IRA for stocks, and then it's a retirement account that's tax free when you pull out the money. So anything that grows into, you can take it out tax free, which is a really big thing because they're taxed by like 20%. The Roth IRAs are really important, and overall, I think most of financial literacy just stems into the one saying of spend less than you make.
Yeah. It's good talking to you guys, because I definitely have a lot to learn in terms of financial literacy, for sure.
Yeah, it's a great thing. Like, it's not as complicated as people like to make it.
Yeah.
Everyone likes to make this crazy, you need an entire e-course for this.
Yeah.
It really boils down to get yourself an LLC, save as much as you can, put money away for taxes, get a decent accountant, and it's basically smooth sailing from there. And you just may learn to budget correctly, and budgeting really just goes into what you really need. And there's a few dynamic principles to it, but it gets really fun. Like, I love talking about it. It's really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely, and especially like once you get to a certain point with YouTube, brands start reaching out to you for sponsorships.
Yeah.
I used to get sponsorships on my old channel, and it's ridiculous for like a 60-second mention in your video. They can pay you upwards of like, I think I got paid $2,500 for a 30-second ad one time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So they just reached out to you?
Yeah, they reached out to me and they said, "Would you be interested in mentioning our product?" And I was like, yeah. What do I need to do? And they sent me a watch, and I put the watch on. I was like, you got to get this watch.
Oh my gosh. And then what was it, like a balance that you had to set so you don't oversell to your audience?
I just was like, I was just being myself with it. Like, I was just making like stupid jokes and being like, you need this watch. It's
just being
It's the
authentic.
best. It's the best watch ever. It's wood finish.
So what is your content like stem off of? Are you just a vlogger? Are you just like a content creator of a certain genre, or how does that go?
So, it's a good question because honestly, it's hard to define when, especially when you're making your own content on YouTube, unless you're like in one specific niche. It's hard to define. Like, I can anything along
Most are
the
like poly niches as far as like this plus this.
yeah. I like to think of the channel as productivity, lifestyle, and filmmaking. So I might post occasionally like a tutorial on editing because editing is definitely my thing. I can edit pretty well. But if it's not an editing video, it can be how to create good habits. You know, because I'm big on that. I'm big on personal wellness. And if it's not anything like that, it could be, hey, I don't really have anything super creative this week, but I'm gonna document my life because that's there's nothing wrong with that. It could still be intriguing and capture people's attention.
You said your mental health started to decline after your channel started to go down a little bit. What were some steps you took to get your mental health back?
Well, for one was detaching myself from the old channel. Like I said, I had associated a huge part of
Can you
myself
break that down
with
just a
it.
little bit more as far as like what you did to detach? Because I like because I had to detach from a lot of stuff as well.
Yeah.
Was there anything that you did as far as removing that identity from you? Because it's a very challenging thing
It's
to do.
challenging. For like 2 years, I was wrestling with it, going back and forth. Should I? Should I not?
It was a slow process.
It was slow and painful. So it just took me a while to realize what I really wanted, and in the process of that, I went through a lot of peaks and valleys in my mental health. But it was there was a large portion of time where I just was feeling so down on myself. Thinking like no one's watching me anymore. People don't think I'm funny. People don't want to listen to me. Like, wow, I lost it all. And sometimes I don't have any regrets, but sometimes I'll think back and be like, wow, if I had my channel that I had then, now, I'd be all over that.
Yeah.
Obviously, like anyone would be all over that, but I didn't realize what I had in high school.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I guess to detach myself, it was I had to just tell myself over and over again, like, this is not who you are.
Yeah, I understand.
So from starting over and then just waking up every morning, I just want to know what's your why. Like, why do you do it? Why do you create content? Why do you try to make as many people happy as possible? Like,
my why, I have a lot of whys. A big one, and not to get too deep or anything, my father unexpectedly passed, and so I have a huge, it's not huge, but like I have like a big pic, it's not big, but like I have a picture of him in my room, and he's like sitting there, because he was kind of big in the MMA world. Not kind of big, he was big in the MMA world, so we have like a bunch of like really cool professional photos of him because of that. So I have one hanging in my room where he's looking seriously, and like it's staring at me. Like when I wake up, I see it. When I go to bed, I see it. It sounds kind of creepy, actually. But
no, but it's like kind of lights a fire under your ass.
Yeah, exactly. So I just always think like my dad, when he was growing up, he had nothing, and he built up a huge business from it, and so that's pretty motivating to me. It's a huge why. And then another one is I have my 100 subscriber plaque on the wall right next to the photo. And so I look at that every morning and every night too, and I'm like, wow, I want to get another one of those. And then besides like material things, I just want to prove it to myself. And I've always been a creative, driven person, but I want to show people like that I can do it, and you can do it too. Like anybody really can, as long as you have the passion.
So wait, go. So, do you want to take yourself like out of the country? Meaning, would you want to outsource to another country of filming and photography and marketing?
So as soon as once I'm at the point where I'm getting, like making more decent money from YouTube, I will certainly be outsourcing. I love editing, but I don't really want to edit. Like I want to be able to outsource that to an editor and they focus on it. I just completely focus on the content. And social media wise, like I hate posting on Instagram. It's not my thing. Like I would love to pay somebody to do that. And it's just
so kind of just build a team around you.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to be able to hire people and have a legit team, because it's bigger than just one person when you're making filmmaking, any creative field. Like it's bigger than one person, but filmmaking especially is not a solo act.
Yeah, if you look at the credits on a movie, it just shows.
Yeah, exactly.
Multiple people.
Yeah.
What were some things that helped you work more efficiently throughout your days and work a little faster, work a little smarter? What were some big key points that you've made?
It was a lot of it was eliminating distractions. So I love my friends, but living in Orlando was a huge distraction.
Mm.
I had to come down here, and it's just living with my mom and my sister, which they're still very distracting. But it's a
Yeah.
different type of distraction where I can just like close the
It's
door.
not like you're going and partying
Yeah.
every night, you know?
Yeah, definitely not. Like and I got the party experience out of my system a little bit when I was there, but it's just not for me. There's nothing wrong with that. I came home and I like it much better. Like having, it sounds lame, but like my weekends I'm just chilling.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. And I feel like they make it seem as if there's something like that's the odd thing to do, but most people are actually, the more I talk to people, that most people are actually into just chilling on the weekend, maybe hanging, going playing some bowling, I don't know, do something chill.
Yeah.
That whole scene of raving every single night and going crazy, it really is for the select few. The thing about it, and the thing about the world in general, is the louder the people are, the more people you think there are. But if you notice a lot of people in, say, activism, for example, you would think millions and millions of people are having this huge passion.
Yeah.
But it's really about like 1,000 people screaming at the top of their lungs, which makes
Yeah.
it seem like this topic is such a big deal. And that's really how it goes. Same with the party scene. Same thing with like even in music videos where they like to portray certain things like girls, money, drugs, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's still a select few people. Most people, it's just so many people are quiet that it seems taboo to like normal, boring things.
Yeah. No, I would agree. Like it kind of, there was a point where I was like, oh man, I don't really do much on the weekends. I don't really go out. And now I'm at this point where people ask me to go out and I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm really like going back and forth in my head about it. It's just a different type of vibe, but it's better for me and for what I'm trying to achieve. It's just more focused, tunnel vision. Like I know what I want. That's what I'm going after.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at least for me, it's not really a different vibe. It's a different mindset. Like I believe that I should work my ass off when I'm in my 20s and 30s, so I'm chilling for my 40s, 50s, and 60s with easy retirement.
Yes.
Because I know people who are still working at 65 and 70, and I'm like, what truly went wrong in your life that you're working right now? They said, I eased off in my 20s and 30s, and now I'm working my ass off when I should be retiring.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is like people will say, your high school years, your college years, those are the best years of your life. Like, have fun, let loose. Yeah, it's false. I mean, if they are the best years of your life, then that's like great. You have some good stories. Like, you look back.
But then you peaked.
Yeah, yes, in a sense. Like, I wouldn't want to feel like those are the best years of my life.
Yeah.
But that's just me, and
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I completely hear you on that.
Yeah.
When you realize how much potential you have, especially as a creator as a whole, and you know how big our imaginations can get as a creator, and then when you get told that little club is gonna be your best moments of your life, and then the big films that you want to work on and all that stuff, it doesn't seem like reality.
Yeah, no, that's honestly a big part of it, because my ultimate goal, ultimate dream is to direct movies. That's what I would love to do. But that's like most movie directors are older, and older for a reason, because they have more life experience and wisdom.
Yeah.
So they make better films.
I forgot who wrote it, but there's a book literally called Making Movies. I don't know if you heard about it, but it was about this director. Dang, I forgot it's a autobiography type of book. But he was a much older guy when he wrote the book, and he was just saying, because breaking down a lot of the thought process as directing movies and why he chose certain stars and how to work with certain stars. And the amount of wisdom that I realized was in a director was insane, because you would think like, okay, make this move, bring out this more emotion, the simple things that you would see in like the behind the scenes videos. But when he broke down his decision making as far as like, this person is this type of person, you can't push them too hard or else they're going to shut down.
Yeah.
And like understanding people to that amount of like to that level.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see.
It's cool, and that's why like directing, that's I think is so interesting, because it's like, when you're acting, every role is equally important, and every role is difficult in their own way. But when you're acting, you come to set, you memorize your lines, you embody that character, and you're off. When you're doing sound, you have your protocol, you do what you gotta do, edit, same thing, same deal. When you're directing, you have to have an understanding of everything that's going on on the set, which is crazy. It's like you're the CEO of the movie, essentially.
But that's why I always found interesting. Okay, this is cool now. I've always thought the film industry was weird because in a normal company, you have the CEO who has to know everything, knows all about marketing, knows about sales, knows about the product, all that stuff. And then they form the pieces together, bring on people that are just as knowledgeable. But then in the film industry, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have the production company who funds it, and there's that CEO.
Yeah.
But they don't know much about anything that's going on other than maybe the director. And then the director normally approves of other people. So it's like this double CEO position where someone has actually the money and someone gets paid the money who has to act like he has the money.
Yeah. So like you're essentially like you're selling the movie to someone like you're selling a product.
Yeah.
And you have to get them to approve on your idea. And if they don't approve on it, you might have to make changes. And that's where ego can play a role. And a good director has the ability to step away and detach and be like, okay, maybe they do have some good points.
Yeah.
Because producers may not have like as creative of an eye as a director may have, but they have more of an analytically creative eye where they can recognize this is going to work well. This can be, this could be popular. This not so much.
Yeah, there was a conference with a bunch of reality TV show directors, and they were all just talking to each other, and they were all asked the same question. It was like a panel type of thing.
Yeah.
And they were saying, what makes a good show? Mm-hmm. And then this one director started saying, I need to find the clip somewhere, but the director started saying, oh, it's the actors and how much energy they have or something like that, and they started going to different things. And then one director's like, it's about what sells.
Yeah.
And it's about what really resonates.
It's true.
And it was like, and they kind of just stopped, and it was weird because you would think that it was more of a technical answer, but it's really, if you have to remember your why as far as why you're making the show. You're not making it to have the best actor. You're making it to resonate with people.
Yeah.
But that's where the craziest part, and that's probably what you experienced, was that you don't know what's going to resonate.
Yeah.
So it's literally you're going with a blind eye.
You don't.
That takes some balls, man.
It does, and especially when you're the one writing the screenplay.
Oh my
and
gosh.
you form this intense emotional
and
connection
now
to
say
it.
That, just don't overthink. Just don't overthink.
Yeah.
Easy, right?
Yeah. And like you say you form a connection to your screenplay, and then you show it to producers, you pitch it to people, and oh, this is garbage. Hate this. Or it has potential, but you need to change this, and this. So you really need to be able to like detach your own self from that script.
And that takes years.
And
man.
that's hard. That takes years.
So I'm just surprised why didn't you just go straight to film school if you're so passionate about it?
Because like I said, I grew up in a family where it wasn't ever looked down upon to be creative or anything along those lines. But
you wanted to find something that made money.
They wanted, you also want to be safe in what you're doing, and in filmmaking and anything, really any creative pursuit is risky because there's no companies. I mean, essentially, if you're a graphic designer, it's different. If you're specifically an editor, it's different. But if you're trying to be a filmmaker and make movies, you're taking a risk essentially. And I wasn't ready to take the risk at the point where I was choosing a college to go to. But I think it took, my dad always told me, if you do anything, just follow your dreams. Like, that's it. And so I always like listened and I heard him, but I guess I was just too scared.
Yeah.
And so after he passed, I just, I said, fuck it. Like, I'm going for it. Mm-hmm. Why not?
Yeah. And especially when you talk about risk and you being so scared of risk, like you were probably so young when you made that choice in life. So it's like, I feel like we are allowed to make these risks just because of the fact that we have so much going for us in the future.
Yeah.
Meaning like if I lose these 2 real estate deals that are going on right now, it will not affect me 10 or 20 years from now.
Exactly.
At all. And it's like I took the risk of being not going to college and being like a real estate agent.
Yeah.
If that all goes to shit, if my first 5 years goes to shit, I still have the next 5, and then I'm not even 30. I'm not even 25.
Yeah.
So I like to hear that now that you're taking more risk, and I mean I was pretty impressed. You just hitting the reset button on again the YouTube channel, and like that's a huge risk. So I feel like at least what I'm hearing is like the more you go on in life, the more risk you're taking on.
Definitely, and it takes a little bit of losing to know what you have to lose, and I have nothing to lose at this point. So and especially with doing YouTube is not predictable. I can't sit here and tell you that I'm gonna be a big famous rich YouTuber in 5 months. I can't, or it could happen tomorrow. Who knows?
Yeah.
So just like pursuing filmmaking online in a digital form these days, it's risky. So when people ask, what I'm doing or what I want to do in the future, and I say what I'm doing, there's a lot of eyes. they don't understand it. And so that's part of why I was scared to go to film school and take that risk, because there's a lot of people that, may look down upon it. But it just came to a point where I was like, I don't care. I'm just going to go for it. And I'm not, I said earlier, I'm not the type of person to put all my eggs in one basket, but I guess in terms of YouTube, like I feel confident in myself, and I've been consistent, and I really feel that if I keep it up, I will be, I will get to the place that I want to get to. And I didn't have that mindset when I was choosing a college to go to. So that's why I probably didn't go to film school.
Yeah, no, and like it's something to applaud yourself for, because just that, I can't even tell you, because I work with a lot of say realtors, and then I also work with a lot of just entrepreneurs as a whole, B2B type of videos, and you can see certain business models completely plummeting, but they don't have it in them to say, I need a restart.
Yeah.
Maybe there's reasons that goes beyond that, like saying they have kids, they don't want to lose everything. There's always a reason. I'm not downing anyone, because everyone has reasons for stuff, but it's just really cool, and I find it really inspiring to see someone hit the reset. I find it more inspiring to see someone hit the reset button than someone who's consistently making, like, say, 100,000 views a video or something like that, because it's showing that you're changing and growth. Now, there's the difference between like resetting and just quitting and starting over time, because you don't see yourself going far. But this is completely different, where you saw yourself going in a direction that you don't want to go, and instead of just pushing it because you saw success in the near future, you kind of scaled back and you said, okay, let's do this the right way. Let's learn from our mistakes. Let's do something we actually enjoy doing. Because at the end of the day, if you're not entirely happy with what you're doing, what are you doing,
Yeah, exactly. And kind of like back to like what you were saying about going to film school, like I, in the same sense, like I didn't want any debt, and film school is expensive.
Extremely expensive.
And so now I'm graduating from FAU debt free, and
congrats.
thank you, which is amazing. And not a lot of people can say that.
That's their first financial good decision.
Yeah, not a lot of people can say that. So I'm happy about that decision, but I think that ultimately it feels good to be able to say that I did reset, and like certain decisions I made, not going to film school, pursuing YouTube, even if they didn't feel right in the moment, they feel right now. Because I feel like I'm exactly where I need to be, and that's a feeling I've never had before with creating content. I've never felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be, and even though I'm not nearly where I want to be, I truly believe I'm on that track, and that's all you need.
Mm-hmm. No, I hear you 100%. That's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that.
So with graduating this year, are you for or against college? Like, do you believe in the system, or do you think it's all a scam? Because there's no true middle ground. It's either you're investing in 4 years, or you decide to hate it and never go.
For me, I think it's a scam, quite frankly. I think if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be something that you're not going to get hired unless you have a degree, you should go. But if you're going for something creative, there's a lot of reasons to go to school for something creative. It's a networking, meeting people, finding yourself, and that's, to me, is worth it. But the books, the classes, it feels like a waste of time. And I've learned 99% of what I know from YouTube, and not from school. And to me, that feels like a waste, ultimately.
So basically, knowing if you were going to take on a student loan of $100,000, you wouldn't have gone. Or would you have said, I'm taking the risk, and then gone?
Like I said, I think it's different for everybody, but for me, I wouldn't have done that.
Okay.
Some people feel comfortable to do that, and that's great. Honestly, like if you feel that it's worth the risk, you should do it, because you only have one life. Like no one can sit here and tell you all the right decisions to make, because you never know what someone's right decision is. The Impractical Jokers?
Yeah.
Joe Gatto, like he moved from Staten Island to the city to be a screenwriter. And, like, you never know what's going to happen with something like that. And it's not along the lines of debt, but the same sort of sense. Like, you just can't predict the future. He moved to become a screenwriter, and he became... Right. Yeah, and he became the top salesman at Nordstrom's.
I didn't know that.
And then his big break came years later down the line. And, like, it's not... Of course, doesn't have to do with debt, but the idea is more or less the same, that if you want to take a risk and you feel confident in that, you should do it, because... Who's going to tell you otherwise?
And on top of that, it's like one person's right decision could be your wrong decision. There's people that, like, say, for example, like probably going into the military. That might be the perfect reason for someone else, but everyone has such a different life that I don't think you can really gauge if like a binary. This is good. This is bad.
Yeah.
You know?
You can't. It really is different for everybody. Like, I'm just not the type of person. I didn't want to graduate with debt. That was my one of my things. But I know a lot of people that don't feel that way. That feel that if they graduate with debt, but it helps them get an opportunity that they really enjoy, and they're paying off debt, every month, but they're still living comfortably and living the life they want to live, then who cares kind of mindset. Which, to each his own, I say, at the end of the day.
And I feel like that's like a hidden form where ego can come in, is like where we want to look at other people, and I'm completely guilty of it too, but we want to look at people and say like almost see their story as a way to justify us making a right decision, rather than just being like, yeah, everyone has their own options.
Yeah.
And because like at the end of the day, like, I don't think we always know reasons behind other people's decisions, and on top of that, if we're even doing the right thing. Like, I could be completely wrong with what I'm doing.
Me too.
You never know, but
then we could all end up being fucking billionaires one day.
Yeah, we could be
like,
sitting here.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
we could be sitting in your podcast studio in 20 years in Calabasas.
Yeah.
You have like Money Talks, Money Matters all over the wall. Money wallpaper. Who knows? You just never know. So
it's exciting. It's exciting to know that you don't know what you're doing. It's like this weird thing because I actually was just guilty of this, because sometimes I'll piss off my girlfriend. I'll like say like I'm doing everything right. Like I know what I'm doing. I'm doing this. I have this business going. I have all this stuff. And she'll slap me in the head, not physically, but like mentally. She'll just be like, you don't know what you're doing. Like you really don't. And then we would talk about it, and it'd be a difficult conversation. Like we were just having this conversation today. It was very, very difficult because I like to feel like I'm right. Like, and that's just most people. They like to feel like they're right. But
of course,
when it got down to the point where like I was feeling good, I'm making good money. It's like a place that I've never seen. I'm seeing more money than I've ever seen in my life, and it's exciting for me. But with that comes the ego that rises along with the success. And like I think I started to experience a little bit of what we experienced, as far as that almost, I don't know if you call that imposter syndrome, but just like being something that you shouldn't be. And I started going in a direction where I wasn't sticking true to who I was, and then I was putting off a personality that really wasn't me, and then I had to like kind of step back a little bit.
Yeah.
I forgot my main point where I was going with this though. What was I saying?
Think big.
No. The ego that rises.
You're basically saying the ego that comes with success.
Yeah, and then it starts to stump me a little bit, but just keeping that down, and like, and also I would look at other people and I'd be like, look what I'm doing, look what they're doing. They're still working at like some little shop while I'm doing this, and it gets very toxic really fast. And I think you lose your ability to form proper relationships, one, and also you lose sight of what your true why and goals are.
It's hustle culture. Yeah. Too.
Oh, 100%.
It's like you got to be working, you got to be grinding. If you're not, you're lazy, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
Which you obviously, like, you need to be working. You can't sit around doing nothing. Though, but like at the same time, it can be toxic.
Well, I think the toxic hustle culture can come in when you're working just for the sake of working.
Yeah, at that
true
point,
hustling is when you're working for a reason, where you want to get to somewhere, which is a really good thing, and you should be working your face off 14 hours a day if you have somewhere to go.
Yeah.
But if you're working just to be busy, I found that was a form of procrastination, really.
A form of procrastination, and maybe even some mental roadblocks that you don't want to like sit and be alone with your thoughts to face.
Definitely, when you're busy, you block yourself off from thinking certain thoughts and going to certain things. Like I know a lot of dads, they would work their entire day until they have to go to bed just so they don't have to, it's really messed up, but just so they don't have to see their kids or family, because it's such a big thing. Being aware of that's really important.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But like again, I'm a big fan of the hustle culture, but again, I'm with Darian. I feel like hustle what you love.
Yeah.
Not just hustle, but just because I know I think it was a quote from like Elon Musk saying someone made a joke saying, how much do you sleep? But he says no, how much do I work? He works 120 hours a week. Yeah. But again, he says that he doesn't work, he just loves what he does.
Yeah.
So he's hustling, but not to the standards of hustle for $20 an hour. Hustle.
Yeah.
No one can work 120 hours a week. Like no one can work. But when you're like, I would believe Elon Musk, when you're going to the lab where they're creating this new AI technology, you're gonna want to be in there for a solid couple hours. Like.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
It's true. Like if you have those opportunities, you're probably not gonna feel like you're working very much. And for sure. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm all about hustle, but the line between toxic hustling and productive hustling is thin.
Super thin.
It's thin. So you gotta learn how to walk that.
Do you think your work ethic got stronger now that you're building a channel that you really enjoy?
Yeah, For sure, because it's it kind of makes me reevaluate my content too, where I'll sit and be like, well, do I enjoy this topic? And if the answer is no, then I don't make it. You know, it's kind of like I've heard this saying before. I can't recall like its source, but it's basically if it's not hell yeah, then it's no. Not in all aspects, but for at least for me creating content. Like if I'm not passionate about the idea, I don't want to make it just because I think it's a searchable, like it has, good keywords and people will search for it. I want to make it because I love it and I have value to add.
And that ties into also the quote that says, the more you understand yourself, the more you understand everyone else in the world. And I think where you say if it's not hell yeah, it's a no. When you feel that hell yeah, there's another hundreds of thousands of people that are just like you that would be hell yeah about that. But if you did like, oh, I guess I'll do it, they're gonna be like, I guess I'll watch it. It's this weird yin and yang approach where we're a lot more similar to others than we think, and our super creative ideas that we feel is like bubbling out of us, those are the ones we really need to attack, because those are the ones that people are gonna be bubbling out just to watch it.
And people can see right through inauthenticity.
Oh my gosh, it's so quick.
Like so easy. It's like the second that you're not doing something for the right reasons, it's apparent, and people don't like that. And so that's something I've been trying to stay true to is authenticity, realness.
And that's why you have to detach from your views and everything like that, because your identity, once it's attached to the views, then you're not you. You're whatever views want. And and as soon as you start doing that, then it falls off, and then you get that snowball. Of
and that was the problem with the old channel too, is that I was doing
That's
things.
Really interesting.
I was doing things for views. Yeah. Like I was what challenge is trending this week? What are people talking about? What can I get clicks on? And it came to a point where I just felt like I was burning myself out, because the things I was spending hours of time to create, I did not care for.
Yeah.
So it's like, what am I doing? Yeah.
So it's like I consume a lot of content. And my question to you is, why should I watch you? Why do you stand out?
You should watch me for many reasons. The first one is that I want it really bad. And I think and I hope that that's apparent through my videos. And I appreciate people that are passionate and people that go after what they want unapologetically. And that's something that I definitely hope shines through. Also, I don't want to just make content to make content. I'm truly trying to add value and inspire people, because I know what it feels like to go through those ups, and I know what it feels like definitely to go through those downs. And I know how, when you're feeling on top of the world, everything feels easy, like you can do anything. But when you're down, rock bottom, you just feel like you have nowhere to go. And I want to be a voice for those people and help them realize you can do anything you want. It doesn't matter what point you are in life. If you want it and you work for it, you can get it.
That's awesome. It's really cool talking to you now, because I don't think I've spoken to you in a solid at least 2 years, I would say.
Yeah, but we've been following each other.
We've been having small messages and everything like that, but you're calm now. It's like this cool aura that you give off now, where you're not just in your face just for the sake of the energy and everything like that. You're really thinking about what you're saying. You're humbled, and I like seeing that, because it just shows that when I get to that point, because I'm definitely not there yet, I still have a big ego and I'm aware of it. But as I work towards that, because it's something I'm actively working towards, it does show, and it's much more enjoyable to talk and have a great conversation.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. That means a lot to me, because I was honestly nervous, because sometimes I'll stutter, or I'll just lose my train of thought.
Everyone does it.
Yeah, and I'm like, what am I gonna do if I lose my train of thought?
Yeah, you realize everyone does it.
Yeah, but
we do it all the time.
Yeah, but the conversation flowed naturally, which I appreciate. And so hearing you say that I'm calmer, that actually means quite a bit to me. I couldn't explain it. I don't know why, but it means a lot to me, because I do feel like I was very here in high school, and I didn't like that version of myself.
Well, yeah, because you're inflated at that point. You're just I've never understood, especially us being young people, when you talk to an older person, a smart, wise older person, not just any older person, but a smart, wise older person, they don't speak much. And when they do speak, it's few words, and the way they say it is very calm with a soft voice. Yeah. And I work with a lot of people throughout the day. I talk to multiple different types of people of all walks of life, and you start to see patterns where the quiet ones, you want to stick around them, but the loud ones, they're normally one, they like to say lonely. I don't know how much I agree with that, but they're also just they're asking something from you. They want to take something from you.
Yeah.
But then the quiet ones are looking to give something to you. And
Yeah, and even gain something. From
exactly.
you. Sure.
Who's that name? The producer from Def Jam, white beard, white hair. He does interviews with Pharrell and also interviews with like Kenny Beats and Rick Rubin.
Rick Rubin.
He's an insane mogul. Like that man has made millions. Probably, I don't think he's made billions yet, but he's definitely made millions. Making music, he knows everything in the book. If there's something we knew about music, he knows it.
Yeah.
What?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, and then when he talks though, he's asking any guest that he has for more knowledge. He's like, so tell me something. Like he's looking for something he doesn't know.
Yeah.
And same thing with Quincy Jones and Jacob Collier. I don't know if you know those. You definitely know Quincy Jones, but there's an artist called Jacob Collier, and Jacob Collier's an amazing, talented artist.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say like those patterns that you see with the top people in the world are always looking for more knowledge. And then when you look at that, then you look at yourself. You're like, who am I to say I know what I'm doing? When there's Quincy Jones and Rick Rubin asking for more.
Absolutely, I don't know anything. Like at the end of the day, I know the basis of like in terms of editing. I know how to edit. I can make you a great video. In terms of filming, I know how to tell a story. But
life in
like
general.
I've only haven't really even scratched the surface.
That's dead ass how I feel. Like I'm like, holy shit, I'm so financially educated, but I know so little.
Yeah.
And
because
it's the weirdest feeling.
Because if you think about it, there's not just one path. There's like 20 other fucking rabbit holes that you can just go down and go down, and it just seamlessly never ends. And it never will. So I think like once I understood that of like, okay, I'm gonna take everyone who I talk to and I'm gonna gain one thing from them, just one thing.
Yeah.
If it's from a homeless guy on the street, I'm like, okay, I gained not to be homeless just by thinking, like basically what did he do? Or if it's some like nice cashier I'm talking to, I'm like, well, I have to be nice now because she's nice and the world's nice.
Yeah.
So
No, definitely. There's always something to gain. Like I've worked a few jobs, but not really because I wanted to make. Well, my last job I worked at Aldi. I was a cashier, and I wanted to work. I don't know why I decided to work there, but I did. It paid well. I don't work there anymore, but it paid well. I got myself a nice lens with it, which was nice. Mm-hmm. But one of the most honestly, the worst and best part of the job was the people. Because the people, you would get, like, some of the nicest people I've ever met. So kind, conversative, just, genuine people. Mm-hmm. But then you would also get people that are yelling at you because you're out of, Honey Twist pretzels. And I'm like, I don't stock. I'm just here ringing up your items.
I think it's so crucial for almost everyone to get some type of job where they're meeting more than like 100 people a week.
Yeah, like that was Aldi.
It's
100
like
people a day.
That's me. I'm a real estate photographer, so I'm going to people's homes 3 times a day at least, and I'm just talking to all these different agents, different people that are trying to make it, everyone. Like it's awesome. And I wish that on every single person to talk to a 7-year-old person, talk to a 30-year-old person the same day, talk to a person that went through this, people that went through World War II, people that went through the Holocaust. Like, when you get that much different conversations in your arsenal, I would say, and like that you can pull and gain perspective and understand, like, you almost get to see where you really are in life. Because when you're just in your own head, you think that you're on top because you have no other way of knowing. Yeah. But when you start to talk to people, it's this really cool thing that happens where you start to see your place in life. I don't like to say people are on different platforms, but to see where you are along as your knowledge, not financial, but your knowledge and where you are wisdom-wise, and you can assess certain decisions you made, and you're like, what would this person do? Or what would this person do? And you can almost put yourself in their shoes when you talk to certain people. And that's just a superpower because...
It is.
I don't know if you've seen that little short film where they were like, the egg, and it was talking about this person's definition of who they think God is. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to get into like religion or anything, but he was like, what this thing of God is, and the short film was basically about everyone is their own universe, and then their soul has to live every single different type of life over and over, and once you do that, then you're considered your version of God in your universe. It was like, you should watch it. It was a really cool short film.
Yeah, send it to me.
But what I got from that was that we can do that in this life, as far as just we can gain another life in our own, as far as talking to different people, and we can hear what this single mom goes through compared to what this Fortune 500 CEO goes through, and just have conversations. And I almost feel bad for people who are scared to have conversations with random people. Yeah. Because there's so much you gain.
For sure.
And you becomes that, and that's where true wisdom comes from, when you can assess other people's decisions, not judge them, but assess them and evaluate and say like, okay, should I do this or should I not do that? And I've noticed when I see young, successful people, they do that more than the not young successful people.
Yeah, it's all about perspective and having those good conversations. Like I was a delivery driver at Bluefin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I have so many crazy stories of people's houses that I went to, and like I said, I work at Aldi. I worked at Monster Mini Golf.
Yeah.
I was a photographer for a kid's summer camp. I worked on
really?
a fire truck. Like I did all these things, not even really because I wanted money, but I wanted the experience and I wanted the knowledge that came with it. Because I'm big into I love talking. I guess I don't know if you're into astrology. I'm really not into astrology, but I guess they would say that's like the Gemini.
I'm not too big on astrology.
Yeah, I don't either.
You?
I just know that. I just know that. But I love to talk and I love to learn. So working all those different jobs and meeting all those different people and having those conversations is what gives you that edge in life.
And
really.
that's more wealth that you've accumulated, not for the money, but for the mindset. I think mindset wealth is more important than money wealth. Like money talks, money matters. We think financial stuff is important, but to get to that financial side, you have to have the mindset. And to acquire that mindset is you have to have certain conversations. And they're difficult conversations. The easy conversations are whatever. You can talk about the sky blue all day.
Yeah.
When you can talk about how'd you do during the stock market crash? And someone can actually break down their emotional process and how they handle certain decisions moving forward. That's insane of a superpower that every young person needs to get.
Yeah, it's hard that's like a mark of a truly good communicator too. Is if you can have difficult conversations and work your way through them.
Yeah.
That was something that like from different experiences in life I gained that skill where at a point like if 2 years ago if I talked about a certain subject I maybe wouldn't be able to get through the sentence without like struggling, stuttering, being overthinking it. But now I'm able to kind of collect my thoughts together and really express how I'm feeling, and that
it's a crazy feeling.
Makes a huge difference in the way people look at you professionally and personally.
I think that goes into being calm because you slow down.
Yeah,
it's just taking one extra second. Like I'm doing this thing like where like you just take 5 extra seconds where you just assess what's going on. When I'm doing photo shoots, it'll take 5 extra seconds. Like, was that really good? How am I feeling right now?
Kind of meditative.
Yeah, it really is meditative, and I'm not super big on meditation. I do use it when I'm having those really stressful days. Breathing work really does help, but just in any way, just take a second and stop and think. You don't understand. Like I think that's what the quarantine did for a lot of us too. Was made us all stop and think because you don't realize when you're going, you don't think about what you're doing, and then you're 10 years down the line, and you're having like a midlife crisis because you just built this whole thing and you didn't actually want to do it, but you didn't hear yourself that you wanted to do it because you're busy. And that's where the toxic hustle culture comes in, because if you don't give yourself time to at least just stop for a second, whether a second might be half a day, a Sunday, whatever you do, you can really run into some problems.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys are with that, like balance between work and personal time. Like you brought up, like you meditate occasionally. Like I have a hard time balancing myself at times, and that is definitely a weakness, something I need to improve upon. And it's something that I've realized if it's one thing to work hard and have that hustle, but if you don't know how to balance it, you'll burn yourself out. I'm curious.
Yeah, Sean, what's your way?
So with me, it's like I balance that all out without being stressed. Is I have habits, and I have habits that I do every single day for the rest of my life. Like the first thing I do is I have so much balance in my life because I have so much control.
Yeah.
With such a crazy job and so many crazy problems, like there are certain aspects in my life that I can control and have freedom of, and I take every second of that freedom and I value it. So it's like when I wake up and I work out, that is
uninterrupted.
I would say uninterrupted time that I can't negotiate myself to do or not to do. Like that's freedom I have in the morning.
Yeah.
And then with that, it's like another habit that I do is I control my eating. Like what I eat, what I get in my body, that is something that I can control. That's another habit that adds less stress into my life.
Sure.
And also the amount of sleep I get, like I can put away my phone. I can stop work at whenever I want. So at 11 o'clock, I know I need 6 to 7 hours of sleep. I can put away my phone. And I think those 3 habits, at least for me, give me control of my life, then give me balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think on my end, my secret is Sundays. So important to me. I don't mess with my Sundays as far as like I don't have too many habits as far as how I structure my day, how I do certain things.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sporadic as far as I do stuff. I structure my day with a calendar. That's first important. I do agree with you. You must take as much control as possible. I make sure I get my workout in every single day, 6 days a week. I make sure I do eat really well. Those are all very important things. But it really comes down to my Sunday. There's something about it because I call it my maintenance day.
Yeah.
I wash my car. I wash the inside of my car. I go over files that I need to like sort properly. I just the things that you put off on the bottom of the calendar.
It's laundry for me.
Laundry. When I tell you, folding clothes has been one of the most therapeutic things that I've found.
Oh, therapeutic.
Yes.
I hate it.
Are you kidding me?
I don't want to put it in the washer and like doing all that, but as soon as it comes out and I have to fold them,
look
they're
forward to
wrinkly.
that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and I think I'm not always like that. Like it's just recently I started to enjoy it because I found that was my form of therapy. It's my form of not thinking about the next phone call, the next meeting, the next project I'm working on. My Sunday's my maintenance day to just decompress, focus on things that will better my life. Nice folded drawers. I think. What else do? I go grocery shopping. I need to buy because I try to meal prep as much as I can. I go over my finances, any invoices I need to sort through or anything like that. Like Sundays are very important. I clean my cameras, cleaning, just relaxing. I like active rest. I don't like to just sit in the bed all day. That messes me up.
I can't do it. I feel
that.
depressed by the end of the day.
You feel even worse. But I do
it.
think active rest is very important. Even if you're just playing ball with some friends or just doing something that's nothing work related. I don't make music anymore, but I used to make music a little bit. My Sundays are the key to my health. And when I don't have a good Sunday, my week is messed up.
Yeah.
There's something about it.
Yeah, no.
So what I'm hearing is that this all stems from habits, and then like your habit is Sunday.
My habit is Sunday.
And that's a good habit.
Yeah,
honestly,
it's not a daily habit. It's definitely a weekly habit.
Yeah,
where
that's great.
I make sure my clothes are folded. I wash my car. All the basic stuff that you don't think about in life, but that's also what will drive me forward because taking care of myself, making sure everything's good. When I'm at a shoot, everything's ready to go. Or I won't worry about my car breaking down because I know when the oil changes are. I know when the next transmission oil change or anything like that.
I need an oil change.
Yeah.
I know.
But it's like the key to, I think, longevity is maintaining what you have now. It's not about trying to get that nicer thing. It's not about the nicer camera. It's not about the nicer project. It's about maintaining the client that you have now, making sure they're okay. You hear every one of their problems. You can sort it out the way they need to do it. Outsource if they need to find outsourcing. But being present.
For sure.
Is 100% where I lose my stress. It's the moment when I start thinking about, I messed up that project in the past. I need to work on this. I need to figure out how to get this next lead. That's where I like control, and control only comes from the present. Yeah,
and it's true. Never back, always forward. Of course, you can't control the future.
Yeah.
And you can't change the past. You have the present.
Yeah.
And
easier said than done. It took me a long time to get there.
Done. Lately, for me, I've been like, as soon as the clock hits 5, I'm done.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. And I try to work like. I honestly don't work as much as you guys probably do, which is like something that I need to get. Like I'll wake up around 8:30. I'll go to the gym, but I'll go to Orange Theory, so it's like a timed class. So the class that I'm able to go to is 10:30. So it's later than I want, But by the time I get home and get to work, it's like I'm working basically like a 12 to 5, which is fine. I'm able to get what I need to get done. But it's not like completely where I want it to be.
It's all goal oriented. You know, right now I'm sure you're just working on a few freelance projects. As long as you're satisfying your clients, everything's good. Like, and again, toxic hustle culture. You don't need to work the 12-hour days, but you're gonna probably get to a point, probably sooner than later, where it's gonna snowball. And you're gonna want to do this, you're gonna do that, you're gonna do that, and you want to focus in as much as possible on what you're doing. It's gonna take more than a little bit of like 5 hours, but there's no point if you don't need it right now. I wouldn't say just to work that extra time just to work, because then you're going to be doing mindless busy work and you're actually be counterproductive because if you're just finding stuff to do, you're not focused on what's important.
Yeah. No, it's like I have my set things of whatever I need to do for the day, and I typically can get that done within that 5-hour range, which is great. But what I'm doing now is I want to keep adding things to what I'm doing. Like I'm doing my best because I don't want to get burnt out because I have been being consistent, but with that consistency comes the pressure to stay consistent that I put on myself. So I do my best not to overwhelm myself.
And I had that problem too when I started taking on a lot of projects. Was I started not being consistent because I was looking. This is why I'm telling you this, because I was looking at how many hours I'm working a day, and I started taking on busy work rather than productive work, and that made me actually like work less on important projects because I started taking on random stuff like a photo shoot that was not even worth anything. Spending too much time on it. And prioritization is important.
Have you read The 4-Hour Work Week?
I have.
Yeah.
Yes, not me yet.
I don't know how I felt about it.
Yeah. I honestly didn't finish it. I started it, but it didn't seem like what I needed.
I stopped at like the last 3 chapters. No, wait, I read it twice. I read audiobooks, so I listen to books.
Yeah.
So then I listen to them through, and I listen to books twice because it's only will absorb anything. I listened to it twice, and the second time I was really looking for something. I was like, "Where's the substance?" But it just sounded like a cheat code out. And people recommended like read the 4-Hour Workweek. Rich Dad Poor Dad was actually a good book, but my alternative to the 4-Hour Workweek would be probably The Law of Success. That was a great book that I read, and like I started a book club, and I want people to read that in my book club. But The Law of Success is a very, very important book because it breaks down why successful people do certain things and why this decision is more important than that decision. Not for the main goal of working less; those they end up getting there eventually. But it's really why should you take a certain step? What are some things you need to implement? What's your diet like? What is your time management like? And it's about what's important right now.
Yeah.
You'll get to that 4-hour work week if you want to later on, but that's not even satisfying because what are you doing the rest of the day?
That was the thing. I mean,
right now it's about finding work that we enjoy doing, so it doesn't feel like work. That's a goal, but a goal to just not work a lot, that just sounds borderline lazy.
The guy, I forgot who wrote it, but the guy who wrote it opened it up basically. Tim Ferriss. That he was at like a tango competition or something, and he was able to do that because
if that's your bread and butter,
you
if that's your bread and butter, go for it.
Yeah,
but
I can't tango, so I will not be doing that.
I promise you won't achieve your biggest goals without working your face off.
Yeah,
there's so much competition,
especially when you're young.
And the thing is, we have so much energy when you're young. That's a disrespect to whoever made us, because we are born with the energy that 50-year-olds are taking testosterone shots just to get.
Yeah,
you know, like we have it in us. We're good. We're doing whatever we want, and we're gonna use that and just go party and not work more than a certain amount a day.
Yeah. No, that's fair to say.
It comes down to mindset. Some people think that way. Some people don't.
It's all mindset.
You know, if people that don't think that way, you can't make
I just read that Goggins book, You Can't Hurt Me, and the main principle was just like your mind limits you.
Yeah.
Your mind is not your friend. No. You have to fight your mind because your mind will tap out when you don't need to tap out.
Yeah, because your mind doesn't really naturally like hard work.
It's about comfort. It's about survival.
Yeah. You know, the human brain doesn't like friction. So.
And that's why it's people's natural tendency is to go risk-free or take the conservative route.
Exactly.
Because that's not them talking. That is their innate, built-in their DNA type of opinions being stemmed. And we have to fight that. And you find that the harder way and the harder thought process and the harder conversations are typically the good ones. And no one likes pain, but pain is normally the right way to go.
It is. It's sucky, but it is.
So, like, that's why, like, I don't chase happiness. I chase contentment, and I chase doing something that feels fulfilling. But that feeling of happiness is so shallow.
It's shallow, and honestly, I feel like it's rare. Which I don't know if a lot of people feel this way, but I'm a happy person.
Yeah.
At the point in my life, I'm happy.
Yeah.
But you know, to say that every single day I'm having like the best days ever, and I'm super happy.
That's not life.
It's not.
Life is suffering.
Yeah,
Once you
it's not
understand
sustainable.
And then we listened to a dude called Alex Hormozy, and then he basically just said, he's like this really big entrepreneur. He said the moment he stopped giving a fuck about any form of happiness, that's when he was the happiest of his life.
Yeah.
It's like this weird thing because it ties into the thing of expectations. When you expect something and it doesn't go, you're sad. But when you don't expect anything and anything happens, you're going to be happy.
Yeah.
Happiness isn't something that's a car or a house or anything like that. It's simply, it's almost like a gauge of your expectations. Like, are you expecting too much? You're not happy.
Yeah.
But the moment you stop expecting so much, like that's the true key to happiness when you expect nothing. I think that's Buddhism. That's where that comes in. I don't know too much about it, but I know the principles of a lot of those religions is just expect nothing and be grateful for whatever you have and whatever you get, and it grows from there.
Yeah, no, you're right. I agree. I would much rather be content than happy, and I feel that way about like the living that I'm earning too. Mm-hmm. A lot of people might disagree with that, but I truly don't think that I would want to be making much more money. Like obviously, I want to make more than I need because I want to live comfortably.
Yeah.
But I don't think that I'd want Kardashian money.
There's no reason for it.
And at that point, you fill your days and you fill your what you think your soul wants with things.
That's not everyone's built to be a Bill Gates. Like I'm striving for something like that, but only because I know business moves, hard meetings, hard different things that energizes me.
Yeah.
But if I was the person that wanted to play guitar on a beach all day, I would play guitar on a beach all day.
Sure.
And there's people that do that,
and then the money will fall.
And the money would follow, but
it's simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, I agree. It's different for everybody.
It really is. And like I had to it took me a long time to understand that, because as I was trying to build like $1 million business and things like that, and I still am, I would look around me. I was like, why aren't you doing that? But then you realize everyone has their own goals, and you can't force your ideas and your perspective on the world on others, because everyone sees the world differently. It's all in their heads.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Basically, it's all relative towards the person, like goals and then aspirations.
And that's where it goes into like if Sean wasn't the type of person he was, we would not have been as close friends. But there was no way, if Sean wasn't the type of way he was, I would try to change him into the person he is now.
Because you can't.
You can't.
You either want it, you either have it, or you don't.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like wanting things, no one can. People can teach you how to do things. People can teach you the right paths and show you the right paths to take. It's that saying, like, you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. At the end of the day, if you don't want it truly, you're not going to work for it, and it won't.
It took me a long time to learn that, because I'm not the type of person that likes to let go of friend groups that quickly.
Yeah.
But as I realized, like, I'm preaching all this, like, guys, you can make $8,000 a month. It's not the craziest goal. Like, I promise you, it's way less than you really think. You can do it. And they wouldn't laugh at me. They always respected me, and my friends would always be there for me. But they just don't get it.
I feel the same way. Like, I love my friends to death, but in terms of like they're super supportive, and you know, if I have an idea, you know, they'll let me know if it's bad, they'll let me know if it's good, and I appreciate that. But we just have like different we have different goals, and there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes it comes to a point where it's like, you know, I think that was one of the reasons I left Orlando, was like not because I didn't like my friends or I didn't want to be around them, but because what was most important to me at that time was going after what I wanted, and I knew that wasn't the place that I needed to be to get it.
Yeah, and
so then
that's recognizing it.
So then, just kind of wrapping things up, since you said again about goals, what are some long-term goals? Like again, what is the 10-year plan? What is the 20-year plan?
I don't have a 20-year plan. I don't like to, you know, maybe this isn't necessarily a good thing, but I don't like to think.
But I like plans for like where you see yourself.
Yeah, I got you.
Rather.
I want to write a book. Definitely, I have a lot to say. I feel like I want to write a book. I want to start a podcast. I want to be working on sets. I don't care if it's TV or movies or even short films. I want to be working on sets with people. I would love to do stand-up comedy. I did stand-up comedy twice. The first time I did it, I got no laughs, and I'm like, I'm never doing this again. And then I went back the next week, and I got the whole crowd to laugh.
Oh, that's awesome.
At one joke. But I want to try that.
No one's good at when they first start anything.
Yeah. And I would love to host SNL. These are just some of my like personal, like, you know, kind of like not service level, but like these are just some of these goals that I've been wanting in the back of my head because I think it would be cool.
Yeah.
But in terms of like real life goals, of course, family, you know, being wealthy but not exactly rich, and just happy and healthy, the basic stuff.
Got it. So would you like to plug any social medias?
For sure. You can subscribe to me on YouTube, youtube.com/Alexandra Robinson. You can follow me on Instagram at @ARobinsonFilms. TikTok, @RobinsonFilms_, and that's it.
And the best place to reach you?
Probably Instagram. Okay. Or you can email me. My email is in my Instagram bio. So
awesome. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for
coming on.
Thank
you guys for having me. It's been awesome.
Awesome.